is Mackenzie. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for being here. Today we are going to be talking about the series that are currently on my TBR in some way, shape, or form moving into 2023. Recently I watched a video from Mara, who got the idea from somebody else about how to go about reading series and keeping only a set number on your TBR, because as we all know, if you read fantasy, if you read sci-fi, people like to put out a lot of series. And sometimes you think it's a standalone, and then it ends up being a series. And it can get a little overwhelming, and it can feel like you'll never make it out of the series hole that you have yourself dug into. At least that's how I feel. So we're making this video. I'm getting my handy dandy Chromebook out so that way we can kind of discuss all the series that I have on my TBR. I'm not going to go through each individual series and let you know which ones they are. At the end of this video, I will show you some like B-roll of my leaning tower of TBR that is the part of the series, and I'll let you know like what shelf is which, because I do have them separated rather well, I would like to think, between series that I know I'm going to continue, series that I have the entirety of, and books in a series like just the first or second book that I need to decide if I'm actually going to be continuing this series. So I don't know where I stand on it yet. So I had to make a handy dandy spreadsheet in order to count everything, because honestly, it's kind of a lot. Sorry, I was just going back through to make sure it was up to date, because I already saw something that wasn't up to date. So obviously, what I have on my spreadsheet right now is only as accurate as the timing of me filming this video right now, which is January 5th of 2023. So things could change literally tomorrow, and literally by the time that you actually see this video. Regardless, things could change. So this is subject to accuracy to right now in my timeline. We are going to talk about series in kind of two different ways. So we're going to talk about how long the series is. So if we have a trilogy, it is going to take up 3 spots on my TBR, and once I have finished that trilogy, it will take off 3 spots on that TBR. We're also going to talk about series in reference to how many books that I still need to buy versus how many I still need to read to actually get them off of my TBR. So those numbers will help me figure out which ones I should actually start with. When I first began this, I figured I would probably have anywhere between 100 and 200 series on my 100 and 200 books of series on my TBR currently. Now this means that if a book like the Gideon the Ninth series, right? That I believe has 4 books, and the 4th one was only just announced / might be coming out in 2023. So even though not all of the books are out yet, I'm still counting it as 4 books on my TBR. Not all of them are released, so I can't take them off of my TBR just yet. It means that they'll stay there until I finish. But it does still mean that I'm counting those 4 books as being on my TBR for the total. So I hope that makes sense. That's how I'm trying to work it, so that way I can limit the series that I have on my TBR. And if I'm trying to add in more series, I have to start reading and taking off series. That way I feel so much less overwhelmed. And I think that this will be helpful. As we're looking at it right now, the total number of books in a series that I have on my TBR right now is 258.
It's a red flag right there.
So when I originally started, I figured I would have anywhere between 100 and 200, and I could set my goal at being 150 books on my TBR, and maybe we could, you know, get away with that. This is an overwhelming number, so I am just going to set the goals in a different way. I'm not going to focus on that because it's like a struggle. So instead, the numbers that I am going to be focusing on are how many books in a series that I need to read to finish and take that off of my TBR. So that's what we're going to focus on, and we're also going to focus on reading the series that I have the entirety of already. So when I did my side calculations, it looks like I have 9 full series, or like the rest of the series that I need to read. I already have 9 of them, so I really want to get those series finished and read and out of the way. I have about 26 series that I know I want to continue. Now, these are series that I am either buddy reading with somebody, or I'm really interested in, or like my excitement has not waned one moment as the books are coming out. I am a hoarder, it seems. So out of these series that I know I will continue, if any of them are fully published at this moment in the print that I want, so if it's hardcover, it's already out, and if it's paperback, it's already out, and I can finish buying up the series, I want to do that, and I want to finish all of the ones that have been published. So these are like year-long goals that I'm telling you right now. So let's not get crazy. And then there are about 17 other series that I have just the first book in the series, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be continuing. So the goal there is going to be similar to the goal with the series that I know I want to finish. I'm going to see if all of the books are actually published for that will complete the series, and if they are, I will actually attempt the first book. And if I like the first book, then we'll continue on. But if we don't, we're just going to DNF, and that's going to be one of my biggest tools here as I try to achieve these goals, is if I do not like the series, to get it off of the TBR. Stop wasting shelf space, put it on my Pango Books. I said this in my monthly goal check-in as well, that I have my Pango Books store in the description of every video if you want to buy books from me, because I'm going to be getting rid of books that are so gently used. They went from the store shelf to my bookshelf, and that was it. Most of them haven't even been opened. So I'm just gonna start doing that and like stop worrying about it. I want to read good books. I want to read books that I'm in love with, and I want to spend time in series and worlds and with characters that truly speak to my soul, as opposed to like I've read too many series that ended up really making me upset and wasting my time. It's not happening anymore. Like I said, I'm also going to be achieving these goals by only reading series this year that are fully published and or are part of ongoing series that I just make entire exceptions for. Like manga series, none of this has included my manga series that I'm in the middle of. Those are like a different kind of storytelling technique, which takes many books to get through, and because it's artwork, it's a different kind of arc. So I am not including them in these kind of series because I'm not trying to complete manga like that. I'm trying to enjoy manga. I'm not trying to complete it. And series, for me, a novel series is is books incomplete by themselves because they are part of a larger series, and with all of them you get the whole story. So that's how I view novel series, and manga series really just aren't the same. So none of these include my manga series, but I do plan on getting through my novel series by only attempting books that have everything fully purchased, like I said, with some exceptions. So exceptions are like oh man, I was specifically thinking of the Veronica Speedwell series, but I'm pretty sure the 8th book is coming out. It's coming out in the first quarter of 2023, and I think that that's it. And that means that I only need 2 more books to buy, and 4 to read, but 2 to buy. Oh, Veronica. So strike that from the record. No exceptions. I'm only going to be attempting series that are completely published to this point in the format in which I need them to be published in for me to have a complete, correct collection. And then also, I am going to be doing this kind of like D20 chooses my next read type reading plan, but also style vlog. So that will be coming sometime in February for my January experience. But basically what I have is a list of 20 books. Some are standalones, but a good amount of them are series, and they're either the next book in the series that I'm currently reading, like the Dune the Dune series. I'm on the second to last book, so I have Heretics of Dune on the list, and if I roll my dice and I get that number, I'm not only going to read Heretics of Dune, but also Chapter House Dune, the last book. So the book that I have listed on the list counts as the rest of the series that I need to read. So whether it's the middle of the series or like Gilded Wolves, where it's the first of the series, I'll read that whole series. So by using that whenever I am either indecisive or am needing to pick a next read, because I always get stuck trying to pick because my TBR is massive. How do I make a choice? And then it's like, there are so many good books. Why don't I just go buy a new book? This is how I get into trouble in the first place. I'm going to be using that to make sure that I don't get stuck in like this endless loop of not being able to make a decision. But also it will allow for chance. It will allow me to either get a standalone or to start reading some of my series and get them off the TBR, because that's the biggest goal of 2023. I want to see how big of a dent I can make into my physical TBR. Some people, heathens really, some people are going into 2023 with only about like 10, 15 maybe books on their TBR, on their physical TBR. Are you kidding me? What's wrong with me? What would I spend my money on if I didn't spend it on books? So before I let you go, I'm going to send you over to my Leaning Tower of TBR over there to kind of like explain the madness that's happening. So this is the top shelf of my third bookshelf. These are all of the series that I have the entirety of. So I have the Dublin Murder series, Aristotle and Dante. Obviously, I only have the third book of this series up here because that's the only one that I need to read to finish. So this is all the series that I have the entirety of. And then the next shelf is the overwhelming shelf. So this shelf is 2 layers deep. Let's talk about the first layer. So we have my new set of The Witcher books, which I'm very happy about, but I am missing 2 of. But I know I'm going to, one, I'm going to start over, and 2, I am going to buy the other books. Then we also have the 2 Veronica Speedwells that I have currently. I am still missing 2 more, but I'll probably read those very soon because I don't need to read those back to back. We have the entry of Dune that I'm on. We've got some of these other first in a series. I, for whatever reason, thought The Bronze Beast was the second in that series, but it's not. It's the third. This one, Temple of No God by H.M. Long, is part of a series that has 4 planned books in it, but the author said that only the first and second books are real series, like a real first and second. The third and fourth books you can read out of order and it doesn't matter. All of Us Villains, I believe, is just a duology, and I'm waiting for the second one to be in paperback, and I started having Gideon and Harrow in paperback, so I have to wait for the other ones to also be in paperback. I have Interview with a Vampire, which I did already read, but me and my coworker are planning on doing a buddy read for that, as well as River Enchanted. So, you know I'm going to finish these. I haven't. So let me pull these down and we can get another look at what's behind that shelf. All right, let's talk about what's behind here. So I've got first in a series, second in what I thought was just a duology, but is in fact a trilogy. Books that I thought were a standalone, but they ended up being a series. So many of these books that I thought, Atlas Paradox and Amari and the Great Game, I thought were both just part of a duology, but they're not. We've got some in paperback. Why did I start that? This one, we've got some more Riordans. I'm almost done with the Arusha collection. This one over here, these are just the Osman books, but I am planning on reading them in this order, so God help me. But I know I'm going to finish these. I know I'm going to get there. I'm just going to, like I said, wait until all of them are published, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's get down over there. So these are my mangas that I am in the middle of, I guess, or the series that I am in the middle of for my manga, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about this pile of shame. This pile of shame is very large. Look at it. Look at how tall it is. So these are all of the books that I have that I don't know if I'm going to actually continue these series. Some of them I thought were single books, but they're not. They're a series. Some of them I've heard such bad things about, I really don't know. Some of them are so long, I don't even know what I was thinking. But this is my pile of shame. So you saw it, my massive pile of shame. Let me know down in the comments which series you think that I should prioritize moving into the new year and what series you're prioritizing moving into the new year. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!